Alrighty, welcome back everyone. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and do that other thing that everyone tells you to do. Forgot what it is. And with that, let's get started and watching what we're going to create today. Alrighty, so now that that is out of the way and you have opened up your project, you're probably looking at something close to this. Not really sure what happened to the ground here. It's probably because nanite's enabled, so you can ignore whatever the weird stuff is going on here. Is it that? There we go, that's what it's going to, no, I did something here. I'm not really sure what I did, but it's not the point. Now your project is open. You can do control space. Actually, let me turn on my keystroker real quick. There we go. Keystroker is now enabled. So you do control space. You can see right up there. So if you're ever curious, that is what I'm clicking. Now that control space is done, you can go over to content, right click, and go to new level. Let's just name this New World. Looks good for me, but you can name it whatever you want. Name it and open it. Now look at this. You made something, a giant black box. To bring life to it, all we have to do is go up here to window, go down to environment light mixer, and do create skylight, atmospheric light, atmosphere, volumetric fog, and height fog. And there you go. You have a level with clouds. The next thing you can do is go up here to selection mode, go down to landscape, and I'm going to change this to 50 because 100 is too big. I don't need all that. And click create. And then now you have landscape, but this landscape for some reason is enabling the landscape I create earlier. Do not worry, yours should not do this, but if it does do it, you can always click this little arrow right here, which resets values. And voila, now we're probably all on the same page here. Now, the first thing I am going to do is go up here to this little box, go down to cinematic and do cinecamera actor. Bring this guy down. And then if you hold shift click and grab it, you can actually go with it, which is kind of handy. I just want some space between the background so we can kind of mold some stuff. And then hopefully you created your project using third or first person. That way it uploads with the mannequin. If you did not, oops, just hit my T. If you did not, do not worry. All you have to do is go over here to add. Do add feature add or content pack. Add in third person. That is going to bring you these assets right here, which one of them is a skeleton, which is what you need. So to add that to your project, and you will be on the same page as everyone else. And then now when you go in your content browser and type in MANN, you are going to get a bunch of mannequins. We can bring in really anything. It can be the animation blueprint. It can be the skeleton. Doesn't matter. In our case, we'll just do the animation blueprint and put her right there. And then now if you click on the camera, you'll see the image right here. You can pin it. And then also on the camera, you can change the camera settings over here on the right. Make sure all is selected. But yeah, you can change the film back. I'm going to do DSLR. Everything you see on YouTube is DSLR, so it's just more native to this point. And then I will go down to create focal length, and this can probably be 28, 28, not 38. 2.8 is fine. No real issue with that. And then there we go. We have set up our scene. Now, the next thing we can do is go over here to the top left, go back down to landscape, and we can start sculpting our landscape. Now, I'm just going to give you a quick tutorial on how to sculpt, and then you can sculpt your landscape, and then I'll just show you what I made at the end to make life easy. So sculpting, as in this literal sculpt brush, is going to bring things up, and if you shift click, it will bring things down. Pretty simple. And then now you can kind of see how it's all jagged. It looks weird, not really pretty. You don't like that. If you want to smooth it, you just go to the smooth brush. And now it's gonna be nice and smooth. And then now you kind of just have like a little divot where the modeling was. So that's how that happens. Flat is actually kind of interesting. Let me give you tool strength. No, but I do want brush size. So flatten's interesting because if I go over to flatten and I click on a face, so say I click on this face and then I go, so right now I'm holding click, but if I go across, you're gonna see it is grabbing the floor and it is all flattening out to the same level that I created or that I held at up here. So that's what flatten does. So now I can just literally cut this in half by clicking here and going zoop, like that. So that's how flatten works. It's actually kind of a more of a niche brush, but it is pretty handy because it's hard to get, like say if you wanted like a cool bridge like this. It's not like the easiest thing to get by not really having that brush, so it is pretty handy. The next one is ramp. Ramp is probably a little confusing at first, but if you click here and then click here, you have a ramp. Now, if I go down here and I lift you and I click add ramp, now it will show you the ramp. So this is actually pretty handy to start making mountains with, because you can start doing cool things like this and like this. Then you can go over to the erosion brush, which simulates erosion. And then you can kind of get some really cool erosion on the sides of these, which looks pretty natural, especially if you're at like a more of a human perspective to how you think it would look. And then you can go back to smooth to try and bring up the walls a bit here. Then you can go back to erosion. Try and like make it a little more rough. And it's a really interesting way, or a really fun way, of bringing out your scene. So with all those tools, let me go back. All right, it doesn't want me to go back anymore, but I can do erase and I can make it ginormous. And I can go boom. See, look at that. It's like it was never there. And then I can go back to sculpt, make it small, and then now I can slowly build out my area. I do know I want it to be like kind of U-shaped. I plan on having the I guess outpost right here, and then there'll be rocks all around it over here, and then we'll have some stuff jutting out right here, and then some stuff over here, and then kind of just playing around with it, building up what you imagine, and then you can kind of just flatten and erode however much you want to try and get the desired effect. So with that little quick tutorial, I will skip over to my finished landscape. Okay, and here we are. This is what I created over here. Nice semi-flat land, and we are ready to get started. The other thing I also did is I made a cinematics folder, put my camera in there, and then I just made a general world folder with my landscape and all this stuff you made in the environment light mixer. So if you want to stay organized, put it there, or don't. I don't care. What is this? Need to be rebuilt because it's a nanite mesh. We will get into that now. Okay, so this is a nanite mesh. I went down to landscape. If you scroll all the way down, you can enable nanite mesh. But before we do that, let's get to the absolute fun part of creating our landscape material. So hit Control Space, and then you are in the content browser. And I have this over here, mm_landscape. Wonderfully named. Thank you very much. And this is your landscape, or the landscape material that we're going to create. So the first thing you want to do is create a folder for it. You don't have to, but it's nice to stay organized. Let me just open it up and let everyone see what we're going to be making. Don't be scared. I know this looks like a lot. I just lost like half my viewers. But it is actually just going to be this. And then you just copy paste this stuff. It's really easy once you get used to it. Copy pasting is a pro when it comes to materials. So you have the landscape, you have the break materials, you have the landscape layer blend, and then you have one material solid right here. So let's go in and actually download our materials to start, and then we can jump in and build this. So go over to Window, click on Window, go to Quixel Bridge. I used this one, so Western, Desert Western Ground, Gravel Slate 01, Icelandic Rocky Ground, this one, and then Soil Ground. And if you're like, hey, Mr. Holt, why are you using 3 different colors? Do not worry, little birdie, I will help you out there. But yeah, so download these 3, and then we are ready to create our material. So you can do right click, material. In this case, I'll do mm_landscape R2. And then you can open it up. Okay, now that you have your landscape open, first thing you want to do is do Control Space and go over to Megascans. And then enter surfaces. And in this case, I'll just do this one since I know we're going to use this one. And drag and drop it. So we have our albedo, or texture, normal, and then our packed maps over there, and then we are ready to get started. So the first thing we're going to do is do a break material attributes, and that is going to be our buddy to start. Next one is going to be a landscape layer blend. In this case, we can do 1, 2, 3, leave it at that. We will be changing this later, but we don't need to do it right now. And then now we can get started on the fun part. So let's do a make material attributes. And then after that, we can do a desaturation node. Sorry, just moving my keyboard around. Zoom in. Let's do a desaturation node right here. And then we can do a 1- right there. And then we can also do a vector. Where are you? I swear I can remember so many things in this thing, but I always forget how to just get a simple vector, a constant vector. There we go. It's a constant vector, everyone. That's what we're looking for. So we can do our RGB, 1-, and then the vector can go into the 1-, or apologies, the red can. Then we can do a multiply node, and the green can go into the multiply node. Let's move you back to get some space. Then we can do another multiply node. Also, sorry, the multiply node is an M click. Very simple, easy peasy lemon squeezy. So just M click it, and then now we can do these two together, getting that full color control. And then we can change this one to base albedo tint. So we can just do constant, or, oh, there we go. It showed up with just a V. Maybe I'm just blind. It's my problem. Oh, sorry. This is wrong. This goes in here. And then our power node. And now, boom, and boom. So now we can go to these and convert them to parameters, since we can adjust them fully. First parameter is going to be named base albedo tint. underscore albedo tint. Boom. And then this one is going to be called base albedo controls. Perfect. Now I'm going to move these down. I didn't change that number. No. Cool. And then finally, power can go into base color. Now, the next thing is going to be the normal. This one should be pretty straightforward. This one is just going to be a parameter node, which is an S-click if you're ever curious. And we can name this base underscore normal, Jesus, intensity. And then we can do a 1 minus, plug and play. And then we can do a flatten normal, plug into the flat normal, plug in the 1 minus. And then this can shoot all the way over to normal. And there we go on that one. Starting value for this one, by the way, is going to be a 1. And then if we go over here, we don't need to change the values, but the base albedo control should be white. So we do want to just make it a 1. So it should look like this. But when it comes to the tint, we can just name all of these 1. Cool. Now, this is a texture pack. If you don't know what this means, you will hear ARD be floating around quite often. ARD goes in the same direction as RGB. So ARD, I guess what red being A being ambient occlusion, R, so it's, I understand I'm doing a bad job explaining this, but ARD is the acronym that goes in the same direction as RGB. So ARD is ARD. So red is for A, G is for R, B is for D, A meaning ambient occlusion, R meaning roughness, and B meaning displacement. So red channel is ambient occlusion channel, green channel is the roughness channel, and blue is the man, my brain is not hanging out with me today, the displacement channel. So that's what these pack textures do. Very handy. So don't forget it, sirs and mans. I have like, I think 3 females that follow me, so we will represent as long as you are here. But yeah, we can get started on this one. So this one is going to be a power node to start. So we can just go over to power and get that out. And this will go a roughness. So our roughness can go power, and then we can do an S-click for a parameter node into the power. And then we need to multiply our power. So we can bring that in there as well. And then we love our parameters. Never forget our parameters. So I'm going to put that in there as well. And then this can shoot all the way up to roughness because this is our roughness channel. So zoop, whoa. Roughness. And then if we zoom in, let's change the names of these parameters. So this one is going to be base rough contrast. Nope, didn't mean to click that. There we go. Base underscore rough underscore contrast. Perfect. And then we can do the other one as base rough intensity. Now, if a lot of people are like, I understand it's roughness and I understand it's intensity, but why in the world is it base? It is because we are going to be grouping these when we copy it. So when we are using our material instances, it's much easier to use, which will make sense in a little bit, but that is why base, and base are all in the language here. And then you can also just add a 1, not a 10. Don't add it. Don't add a 101 either. That's off to big things here. 1, sweet, super sweet. Okay, So now your package is close to being set up. We just need to plug in 2 more things. And for any geniuses in the room who want extra credit, that would be, yes, the ambient occlusion. And lastly, our displacement, which is my favorite part about this. Now, I would say in a perfect world, I would be adjusting the displacement very similarly to how I am currently adjusting the roughness. However, every single time I try and get it to work, it will not work, and it's driving me nuts. It's actually making me pretty mad. The only way I can get displacements to work is if I plug it directly in and then go into layer and then filter all the way through. And then I would then have to click on the name main material, go over displacement, and actually like change displacement here. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It annoys me, but it's just, it is what it is. Don't know why I can't adjust the displacement individually by parameter for each material. I don't know. And I swear some people can. So it's like I'm doing something wrong. So if you know what I'm doing wrong, please tell me on how to set it up. But it just won't work for me. So in this particular case, this material will work displacement wise, but it's just going to have to come as one lump sum right here. It will not come separately. And I have a feeling in landscape materials, that's just what you have to do for now. Whereas it works perfectly if I'm like creating my own like material for I don't know, a circle or a box or whatever. It just won't work for an actual landscape. So I don't know. Hate me or don't. Okay. Now the last thing we're going to do is, before we start putting this all together, is basically get rid of our, grid lines. And this is a pretty simple process. A lot of people, I feel like, get intimidated by this. Do not. It is not as difficult as you think. So we can get started on that right away. So go over to your albedo over here. And the only thing you're going to have to do, I posted a beautiful video on this, is type in texture variation. There you go. And it's mainly just this big, beautiful node right here. So I am going to take the shifted UVs and plug it all in. And it would actually work just like this. However, we are going to add a little more to make it that just a little better. So the first thing, which is Landscape 101, is a texture coordinate. So let's do texture. All right, texture coordinate. Then we can do an S parameter, which is going to be our tiling. So we can call this base underscore tiling. Not bay. We should probably change that. And then we can go to multiply. Plug in. Make you a 1, or your landscape will never work. And you'll be like, what in the hell is going on? I did it once. It's never a good time. Plug into UV. The next one is going to be 2 parameter nodes. So S-click and S-click. If you're smart, throw stuff around, why don't we? The first one will just be, we're going off of these right here. So the first one is just going to be variation, or base variation. Base var underscore scale. And then this is going to be, nope. Base var levels. And then you do kind of want to write this out, because this material will be very handy going forward throughout your entire life, really. You can use this as a template. You can keep adding things to it. It'll be very handy. So I definitely suggest it. Actually, we can make this 0.2. That's what I used in my original. And then the last one is going to be a constant vector 2. And we just need the blue channel for this one, which can go straight into the mask channel. And then go to blue and click 1. And there we go. It's nice and blue. The last one we're going to want to do, actually, is take our variation, copy, paste. Didn't work. Copy, paste. That's what happens when you go from Mac to desktop all the damn time. And you're going to do convert to texture object, and then convert to parameter. And now you have a parameter texture object. And you can then plug this into the height map. So it is using the correct information for the height map. And with that, we are done. So now the last thing you're going to do is plug into the layer, and you'll want to change the layer names. And this is where the whole base might make sense, because we're going to name you our base layer, this one to be our mid layer, and this one to be our top layer. And then it can go into break material attributes, and we can go across. So we've got base color, roughness, normal, ambient occlusion, and then displacement to displacement, but we need to activate displacement. So if you click on the material and you scroll down, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's just use our brains and type in tessellation, TESS, and click enable. It will now be bright, which means it is now working, which also means if you go down to displacement, you can change this. I'm going to say off the bat, change magnitude probably down to 0.2. It's too much at 4. So now that that is all done, the next thing to do is to copy and paste. So just do one big copy and paste. Again, Mac to Windows is an annoying thing. Copy, paste, and paste. Boom. Oh, nope, let's get the entire thing. Nope, again, the entire thing. Perfect. And then we can now plug you in and plug you in. Okay, so one last thing that's got to be very quick, so you don't get lost. I do want to change this one from parameter to base underscore var height. That way we can change it. And then just explaining the group, we can now click on it, group it as base. Perfect. Let's go through all the parameters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You are all going to be base. 1, 2, 3. It's not letting me do it, but these two will do it. Base. This actually doesn't need to be changed, so that doesn't matter. And then U3. Don't have a group. Okay, so that's everything. So that way, when you kick out the material instance, it'll all be grouped under the tab base, which is very handy. So when you're making these, now what you have to do is they'll all be in base 2. So you need to go through and just change the names of these to now mid, throughout, and then once they're mid, you're going to click on it and change it to mid, and then they will now have mid instead of base, and these will still be base. So go through your material, change all those settings, and then go to apply and save. Honestly, quick tip, if you just click save, it applies anyway, so clicking apply is kind of stupid. And then you are ready to go. Alrighty, so now that that is all done, we can now create a material instance. I'll just delete this last one. Click on the landscape, or sorry, click on the instance, click on the landscape. Pray that these stupid things go away, but see this little arrow? I'll wait till it goes away. See this little arrow? Click that arrow right next to landscape material. And then now you'll have this cool glossy material. Yeah. Now you want to go up to selection mode, top left, go down to landscape. And we're going to click on these little plus signs and go to weighted layer blend. And we can save that in the landscape folder. Weighted layer blend, landscape folder. Weighted layer blend, landscape folder. Now, if you made it this far in my video, you're probably like, hey, why is 3 layers of the same landscape? The cool part about this material and the way we set it up is if you double click, you can now enable these materials right here, all of them. And we can actually change the material. So now I'll go back in and we can add the other materials that we're using. One is the Western gravel. So we can click on the Western gravel and go 1, 2, 3, 3. And then we can go over to the mid layer. And this one's going to be soil ground. And we can do 1, 2, 3, 3. Save, close. And then now if I click right here, I can paint this one in. Now, the other thing that is going to be an issue, and I'll show you how to fix it later, but is also going to be the overall color of our scene. We're going to obviously want a different color so these all match. But truthfully, I don't even want this color either. It's all going to change. I want it to be all a little more bluish gray. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Right now, let's just paint in our scene. I think just having a nice time drawing here. And here. And then the last one we can do is go over here. And I know I want this to be a sandy plot right here. We can kind of just keep that up across like that. And then the mountains can be more painted. Now we can go over here. Click on our landscape material, minimize it, and we can make some value changes. So as you can see, I said we're going to get rid of the grid, but you can still pretty much see a grid, which is fair. So all we have to do is go into the variation scale and height, and you can kind of change these numbers around. See how now the grid is falling apart. It's no longer gridded as much. See how much it changes like that, and then all the way back to like having an obvious grid. So you can play with these numbers, variation height, levels, and the scale. Scale is going to be how big the scale of the actual texture that it's using to copy. And then the levels is how many times it's going to be doing it. So have fun messing around with that. The next one here, so this is what, 4 and 3. I'll make those changes with the other ones. So we can go over to mid, 4, and 3. That way nothing seems like it's repeating too much. 4 and 3. There we go. See, now there's like a lot less repeating. Like, don't get me wrong, there's obviously still a repeat, but when you're in your scene, it's pretty hard to catch a repeat when you're looking at it like this, which is why it's so very handy. And the other part to this is you can totally increase this till finding a repeat is pretty difficult. It does reduce the overall, I guess, quality of it. So be aware that there's a downside. But if you're doing it, it also means like if you need a large area to not have a pattern, then it kind of works in your favor. So now this large area doesn't have a pattern. And you'd only really use this if it was a large area you're trying to use. You could do a far less destructive, numbers to try and achieve it. So yeah, play around with it, get used to it. It's honestly incredibly handy. So Yeah, that's probably some good knowledge for everyone to have. And then now you can make some other changes, normal intensity, roughness, contrast, all this different stuff. I think the last one that I'm going to do is probably the albedo. So to switch albedo, this is what is going to help us blend all these different colored materials. So we're going to go over to unlit. Unlit is because it is a lot easier to see and to color match in unlit, because lighting changes the way things are colored. So unlit is a very, very handy way of handling this. And I'll be using this throughout, since I'll be using a lot of assets that are different colored. So now I'm going to go over to albedo controls. And then I can change the color. So let me actually go back. All right, let's just do cancel. Let's go over to albedo controls. Albedo controls. This one's the red one. So we know it's red, so let's go in the opposite direction. So see how it's slowly blending in. It obviously stands out, but if we move over to blue, it's a little harder to see. I know now that, like, say this is a little greener than this, so you can go over to the green and kind of increase the amount of green or decrease it. Change this a bit. Click OK. Go down to saturation. Adjust brightness. Then you can go back in. Okay, and then you can also open up the tint. All right. Less blue. And now you can see it barely, but it's not the worst to have it stand out slightly against it. Let's see if maybe reducing the red. Maybe if we go down back to these controls and change the brightness. Seems like it's slightly brighter. And then now if we go over to lit, you can see how well blended it is versus what it was before. So now you can do the same thing with this middle texture. I'm going to change on the tint. It is definitely red, so we can reduce some red here. We can reduce the green a bit as well. Blue can go up. Brightness can reduce. But we do have to remember it is sand. So like having it to be the exact same as its surrounding is not necessary. But we can just try and key the overall color. So it looks a lot more aligned with the atmosphere, or with the rest of the scene. So now we just blended in all those colors. Okay, so now that our landscape material is done, let's start bringing in more assets. So I'm going to go over to Window, Output Log. I don't know why that came into my brain. Quixel Bridge. And then I'll just show you the assets I think I use the most. I definitely use this one, which is the Desert Western Mound Mud Rough 01. That one is one I used a lot. I used a bunch of rocks. I mainly looked up Icelandic. It's very good thing to have. I think this is one I used, the Icelandic rock formation. Definitely use some of these rocks. What else? I definitely use this rock formation, Icelandic rock formation, Icelandic sandy volcanic rock, Icelandic sandy volcanic rock. This Icelandic rock scatter is also very handy. But in general, it's all these Icelandic rock ones. But I definitely used the ones that I just mentioned the most. So go on to Quixel Bridge, find those, download them, and then we're ready to get started. Okay. So the first thing we're going to want to do is start blocking out our scene with the assets. So I'm going to click on the camera, pin it, because the camera is our main point of view. And then I'm going to go over to Megascan, and then you can go over to filters and go for static mesh. These filters are very handy. Use them all the time because it just saves you a ton of life and a ton of issues. Also, if you open it up and you just see all these, like, I don't know, what do you call these? But click on one, go to the bottom, shift click the other, go somewhere here, drag and drop. It's going to take a long time. It's super annoying, but they'll basically all load in. So then all the images show, and every time you drop and place any of these different pieces, it's not going to take forever to load, which sometimes it does, and it's crazy annoying. So I kind of just bulk drag and drop just to get it done with. Now that that is done, this actual main one, this big boy right here is what I want to use the most. And then all these can kind of disappear. So let's just go in. And then really it's just about placing these to design your scene. So I'll place a few, let you guys see kind of what I'm working with here. And then we can skip to the end look. So you got the huge one, lava cliff, and this one here as well. These are going to be the three main ones that we're going to be using throughout. So let's build some lava cliffing. Perfect. I think this is looking pretty nice. So now we can actually bring in some new assets. So go over to Epic Games. Go to, I guess for you, it would be Marketplace. For me, it's in my library since I already have it. I'm going to scroll down, show you where the drone is. So this is the service drone. This is what we're using as our main character. So definitely suggest you go in and download this. It's very high quality. You can use it for a lot of different projects. So I honestly like this a lot. The next one is going to be the control rig sample pack. It's going to come with this awesome tank, which is what we use in our scene as well. And then the last one is going to be the modular sci-fi indoor outdoor environment pack by Rocky Swampy Planet. If you have not grabbed this, so this is part of, or this was a month or two ago's free content pack. Go on to Unreal religiously, go into their marketplace right here, go down to free, and go for free for the month. And you will most likely get really cool assets. Right here, you have a stylized landscape, and you have a Mediterranean coast, and you have cool magic VFX bundles that you can add into your video game. These are always super cool. This right here was one of them about a month or two ago. Sorry, trying to get back to this. This was about one of them a month ago. So please use this. It's awesome. If you don't have this for free and you weren't doing like the free for month, I would say the backup plan for this, if you still want to build something out, would be, or for free at least, would be Mission to Minerva. This should be free. bunch of cool little assets, and you can easily build your little base by using these assets. So definitely highly suggest. Also, if you look over here, it says supported engine versions 5.0 to 5.1. You can build out a project in 5.1 and then upgrade it to, say, 5.3 or 5.4 to use it in an updated Unreal Engine software. But it just is a little time consuming and a little annoying. But it's also free, so your pick. Spend money, don't spend money. I don't know. The last one that I did is also the Planet Creator. This is also a paid asset. However, you don't really need this. You can make your own planet, and I actually have a tutorial on how to make Mars and Earth. You can probably find your own sci-fi, like material that you could use for a planet. So if you want to create your own planet, definitely go down that and check out that tutorial. You'll create your own planet, and then you can probably just switch out the material to create your own looking planet. So have fun doing that. If you want to create your planet. If not, you can also just buy this Planet Creator. Up to you. Okay, so now that we're back in our scene and we have all our new stuff, the first thing I'm going to do is bring in and start creating my modular spacecraft. So I'm going to go over to Static Mesh and let me grab a little house. There we are. Before we do that, I always love keying in. There we go. Let me push it a little back. I think that's looking good. And then you can also go in, because it's doing some weird shadows. So just to be sure, I'm going to click on the decals and make sure it's two-sided. Did that fix it? Not as much as I hoped. Maybe it's just the glass that's being weird. Two-sided. Odd that it is doing that. It's basically cutting through the shadow, which leads me to think that one of these materials is not set up correctly. Found one. This material right here. I think it's all these painted metals. So just go into all these, go to two-sided, save. And then just keep changing them all to two-sided if you're having an issue with this. Maybe it's a trim. I'll just keep going through. Really, all these should be two-sided, so I'm just going to keep going through. But yeah, I caught 99% of the issues. I'll just do one more, see if that fixes that last little. It didn't. I can always go through that at the end and fix it. But yeah, if you ever have that issue where light kind of seems to be cutting through your material, that is 99% due to the fact that it is one-sided, not two-sided. So now for our little door, I can grab this. So now we have our little space outpost. Now there's a bunch of different assets here you can add in to make it a little cooler. So definitely feel free to kind of build up your space station to make it look a little more unique. You can build out your planet outpost as much as you wish. But the next thing is you can go over here to control rig. This will be skeletal mesh, actually, not static mesh. So if you have it filtered for static mesh, you're not going to see anything. And you can grab your giant mechs. And I'm going to just go around my scene and kind of burying my mechs as if some long, ancient battle took place here. Perfect. Well, I like that. The next thing I'm going to do is just quickly add in the planet. So in this scenario, let me go over to meshes, planet. It's big and red, and it's already colored from when I last had it. So don't feel confused. It's not normally like this. But when I change all the colors and we go over lighting, it will change drastically how this planet is going to look. But I do want that. Maybe even like, yeah, give it a cool little tilt compared to the, I like that. Okay. Okay, so now we have pretty much finished building out a lot of our scene. I do want to note, though, that you'll see that all the new static meshes we just placed, they all look very similar. And that is because when I was creating this originally, I changed the albedo. So if you want to do the same, to do kind of what we did with the landscape, you can move it to unlit, go down. Sorry, let me redo this so you can follow it. I'll click on it, go over here to materials, double click. And then in here, you can go into albedo tint, and I changed the blue. So this was what it was originally, a little more green. I changed it to be a little more blue. And then I'm pretty sure I also adjusted these and these as well. So just go through, you can double click, find the albedo controls, change the tint, and again, do this in unlit so the light doesn't affect the way it looks, and you will get a scene that all looks very homogeneous. So now let's work on the lighting. So I'm gonna go and actually let me, new folder, perfect, rename. I'm just going to make this look clean. I'm just gonna call this objects. Grab, drop, cool. Now in general world, I'm gonna go over here to this little plus sign, go down to volumes, and then find a post-process volume. Click on that. This is very cool volume. We like this volume. Click on it, go all the way down to the very bottom. I'm lying to you. All you have to do is do and then this will pop up. So unbound, click this, which means this little box now affects this entire scene. And then you can close it and go over to exposure and take min and max. I'm going to go over here to directional light. We want directional light to be probably 2.5. And then go back over here to the min and max Let's make you -5 and -5. This way it can't change light on us. That's too bright. So 1 and 1. I think this is probably a bit better, but just in case, let's go and make it -1 and -1. Perfect. So let's move the post-process volume in over here. We now have min and max EV and a directional light at 2.5. Let's go over to sky atmosphere. We can increase this, or sorry, we can change the Rayleigh scattering to probably just about here. We don't need this to be some bright background. So we can bring that down, can kind of change the light there. And then we can go over here to fog density, make you 0.25. And then go over to volumetric fog. We can play with this a little bit. We can also play with the extinction scale and the fall off. You can also take the sun, give it more of a darkness view. Maybe a little right there. And then I think the last change here is going to be the temperature, making it cold. And there we go. Now it's starting to come more to life. We can maybe skip this to be on the other side. I kind of want it to block out the view. Maybe I do like this. And then also it always helps to click on the camera and kind of see how that looks. This is actually arguably a better light than my version, my original version. I do like that right there. So let's keep this, and then now we can keep building out our scene. Now, the next thing I'm going to want to do is go over to Megascans. I'm going to go over to 3D assets so I can do static mesh. And then I'm mainly going to be using not this one, but this one right here. And I can make it large and kind of drop it into the ground. This one's kind of interesting. So you're going to notice that it has like some blue marks on it. This is not how this asset came. So I'm going to click on it, double click on the material, and you'll see I changed the albedo tint. If you would like your asset to look the exact same as this, these are the changes I made, the RGB. So copy those if you want, and add it to this material, which is one of the ones that I showed you to download. And then I am just going to kind of spread it around our scene. Now, the last thing we can do to try and add some detail here is to go over to foliage. Now, earlier I said to download some rocks. In this case, I'm just going to be using some of these tiny little rocks right here. You can place them whenever you want, and then you can probably change them the later down the line we go. I'm just going to do one big click to see if my changes are staying. They are not. So I'm going to click on these, and then we can go... sorry, I'm moving quickly. Let me slow it for you all. So go to the top left-hand corner and go to foliage. Within foliage, you'll see the ones I just placed, but basically all you have to do is drag and drop, and they'll add into your foliage tab. Once they're in your foliage tab, let me bring down this paint density and brush size. It does not be that huge. Click on these, and you can actually go, so I clicked on one, then shift clicked on the other. You can actually go down to scale, and let's make this small. So I'm going to go 0.2 to 0.5, 0.01 to 0.05. Now that means when I paint these, they will gradually or naturally just be smaller little pieces of rock, which look really cool if you look down here on this screen, on your camera screen. So I'm going to paint these across our map to give it more of a natural kind of space rocky look. And again, this is set dressing, so if it's not in the shot, you don't need to worry too much about it. So definitely focus on like what's in your scene. If you want the scene to be bigger, or you want like to shoot different angles, then by all means build out those angles and kind of get the shot you're looking for. But whenever you're trying to build out a scene quickly, do not feel the need to make something look good if it is not going to be seen on camera. I really like how all that turned out. Perfect. So now the last thing is really just adding in some details. So I'm going to go over I'm going to go over here to our little planet, and I'm actually going to go up or to our little planet outpost, and I'm going to go over here to this box, go to lights, and grab point light. And I'm going to start adding little lights that emulate the lights that you see on the outside of our cabin. So obviously this is way too bright, so I'm going to bring you down to 0.2 maybe. And again, the idea here is this point light is meant to emulate the little light that we see on our little outpost, to give it a little more, I guess, pizzazz. So we got that right there. And then I'm just going to put another one on the corner. Just kind of brighten the scene a little. If you start getting these little X's, it just means they're not movable. So just change it right here to movable or static. Movables, I think the dynamic but slowest rendering, fastest rendering but fully baked. So for live, I guess for Unreal, I do suggest movable, but it will be harder on your system. So take that with a grain of salt. And then now we can bring in our drone. So let me go over here, type in drone, service drone. There we go. Not going to pop up. It's a skeletal mesh. We're going to grab the drone. We have our cute little drone. I'm going to make him a little smaller so he's not gigantic. And then I won't be showing how to fully animate him, only because it is very easy. And I have a lot of tutorials on how to use a camera sequencer, but I will set him up and maybe give you just one little tip or two on how to quickly animate. So as you can see in my video, there's like a little red beam. There's a red beam here. All you do with this one is go up here to the little box plus, lights, spotlight, and then we're going to affix a spotlight to our drone. So we're going to pull him up. Bring that around, down, turn it, I'm trying to get it perfectly in front because we're not going to have power over it. It seems like it's pretty good. And then all you have to do is go over here to your spotlight, go find your drone, which now I realize in all this mess might be difficult, and then just drag and drop. Oh, no, maybe not. Oh, none. Sorry. So when you drag and drop, it's going to ask you which bone do you want it to affix to. Since it's a skeleton, This is making much more sense. Just click none. None's fine. And then when you click on this, your light will move with you. Now we need to make the light more evident. So let's go over back to the spotlight, and we are going to shoot it all the way up. No, we might actually not do that, but we can shoot this out for as far as you want. That's fine. But the inner cone is going to be a little open, and the outer cone is going to be thinned down. So now it's working with the spotlight, and you can see it shooting through the fog, which is kind of giving it more of like a beam look. Now the last thing we need to do is just go over here to light color and change it to the color that you desire. If you want to be a darker color, it's auto saving. Auto saving. If you want to be a darker color, let's go with like, it's like a real traditional red. Yeah, we can go up there. If you want to be darker color, you can kind of just bring it down. So it doesn't have to be as bright if you want it to be darker. And click OK. Then now our little drone has a cool spotlight. And then when you animate him, wherever you animate him, the drone will have the spotlight affixed to him. So you look up, look down, it's always going to be there, which is really cool. So I will go through and just make final touches. So some cool things you can add is, one of the things I had was a lot of film blur. So if you go actually back to the post-process volume, you can go down to bloom. If you want bloom, you can add that. You can always like increase it and decrease it to see what you want. It's really just based on preference on that one. But I'm going to go over to, is it advanced? No. Color grading. We can change our saturation a bit in certain levels. That way it's a little less blue and a little more gray, which I think is kind of cool looking. You can change your different saturations when it comes to gain, offset, and shadow. So you can play around and get a little more nitty gritty on your actual scene. Film is actually something that I wanted to add. You can bring up the slope. And then you can even go into film grain and shoot a lot of film grain into your scene. So now if we go over to the pilot, it looks a lot cooler because it has like this more gritty look to it, which I feel like just, I don't know, connects more when it comes to being on a planet. And then I believe you can also change halation. I guess we can't, but we could change bloom. So I'll add just a slight bit of bloom, just so all these kind of blur and pop. And then let's go more into film settings. This is basically going to make it like, I don't know, deep ISO. Slope can stay high. We don't need to change that much too much. And then texel size. You can kind of see it paused right there. If you hold down on it, that's kind of what you're looking at and adding to your scene. Then the last bit is, I also said I was going to be doing displacement, which this comes at the very end because we're going to go over here to enable nanite and we're going to build our scene. So now I also decreased the overall. Let me go all the way as low as I can. I decreased the overall displacement way ahead of time. But if you did want to increase it, this is the only issue with doing displacement at this point in the stage, is it brings your map lower, which means all this that we just placed is now a little too high. I will show you how to fix that pretty easily. So yeah, it might be best to key in this with this landscape before you place. I just forgot to do it, unfortunately. But yeah, if you want to make changes to your landscape displacement, what you have to do is go over to landscape, click on the actual map, and then I actually don't know if you can change displacement here. Can you? Displacement scaling, and make this 1. You'll kind of see how ridiculous it can get pretty quickly. It's all down here looking crazy. So this is all the map. This is all our landscape down here. Very unhappy with the change. Yeah, see, looks pretty crazy actually. I'm gonna click back on it. So let's go back to the foliage right here, and then you can find your foliage asset. You'll have one solid foliage asset, which should be here. It's not, it's knowing me. Where are you? Where's the foliage asset? There we go. Foliage is right there. And delete. We don't like you. Or actually, if you want to keep it in there, so if you want to keep the fact that you have these in here, one funny thing you can do is just actually go over to erase. It's on erase. Increase the brush size till it's gigantic, and then just do one giant click and see how it all went to 0. That's one easy way of just restarting it if you wanted to restart it. Or you can delete and repaint. It's totally up to you. But to key it in, you can click. You see how it's floating. Okay. So now you can go down to offsets and maybe make this -5 and -5. I'm going to make you probably 20. So it's just a small little box, and paint density high, and they're still going above. So let's do -10 and -10 and hit again. One went on top, one did not. So we can keep going to maybe -15 and -15. Click again. I think for the most part, these are all going down. It's kind of hard to tell. So let me go into erase and then go back in and just paint a bunch. And there are a few that are above, and that is because we've made these very small. So we can actually make this probably just 0.1, and then I don't think we'll have this issue too often. Maybe a little bit. Okay, so let's just bring this maybe just -30 to -30. Now a bunch of stuff's going to go under. That is the only problem with displacement, is it likes to cause issues with your scaling. Maybe we just stick with the 0.2. Paint. That's obviously not going to happen. That's obviously not going to happen either. So -30, -20, and -20. And I think this is what we're looking for, where everything is falling either on top or just slightly below our landscape. So that should be working for us. Let's go big. Make you large, delete everything, go back to paint, make you small, go over to our camera. So just go selection, camera, click on it so we have our camera again. Go back to foliage, and we are ready to paint again. So now you can kind of paint your scene up with the rocks you wanted to have. How large this is. There we go. Also, if you feel like it's not painting enough, you can always click on here and up that. But I have a feeling it is. It's just painting a lot underground. So if you actually don't want that to be the case, let me fine tune this a little more. I'm probably going to do negative 17 for both. Let me bring the brush size all the way down, start painting, and it doesn't look like any of these are floating. Maybe a few. Okay, shoot. Negative 19 has probably got to be what it is. All right. Last check here. Just painted a bunch. And it looks good to me. So now I can paint these back on real quick. I'm going to keep near the rocks. There we go. Cool. And that works. It's giving a nice, subtle top piece to it. Cool. So that would be the end of how we build our scene. Let me just do one quick extra thing, which would be explaining how to animate our little drone real quick. So I'm actually going to go over to the clapper board, add level sequence, ls underscore planet outpost underscore 2. Cool. Content, save. Then you can click on it. If it doesn't show up once you double click on it, like what it just did right now, you can go over to open level sequence and it should pop up if the world allowed it to. What is going on here? Something's glitching right here. That's what's going on. There we go. There we go. And then we can go over to add Cinecamera actor and then add drone. So you have the camera actor and the drone. Just to give you a quick overview, I'm going to probably start my camera here, where you can just click transform, and then I can bring it all the way over here, then click transform, and that is how I'm going to move my camera. But one quick one with the drone. So the drone already comes with animations, so you can go in and do like different animations. I'm going to do the idle flying animation. This will be continuous, so you can use it forever. And if I click play, you'll notice it's just spinning right here. So it's a really cool animation. It just automatically gives some motion. But now, when it comes to moving it, a smart way of handling it, just to give you like some little background, is you have the whole transform. location, rotation, and scale, and you can change these as well. But if you just do one major, transform, so like say you want to go from here, right? We can also, yeah, there we go. It's pointing in the right direction. Perfect. We can go from here, set, and then, why is it not setting? Set. Because I don't have the playhead on it. Set. There we go. From here to here, we can just click in one area. So now, let me get out of the camera so it's easier. Yeah, it doesn't want to do that, does it? There we go. From here to here. So now we're going to have it move from point A to point B. So the drone is going to shoot. Okay. If the drone loved me, it would do. It even shows the line. Why are you being weird? Yeah, that's your line. Why aren't you moving on your line? Why are you moving backwards? All right, I'm going to delete this. Something must have happened when we first did this. I don't like it. So I'm going to close. You are right here at the start of the scene. At the end of the scene. I want you here. Done. There we go. Now it's moving. So basically what I'm getting at is you should move it with base just movements using transform, and then while it's doing its transform, you can make subtle changes within this to try and get it to look more dynamic. So for example, it's going to move point A to B here, but what if we had the Z now a little lower? So you're going to see it. Sorry, my dog just tripped out, dude. But you'll see it slowly lower. And then you can go over here to pitch and yaw. So that's going to turn left and right. That's going to point up and down. And that's going to look up and down as well. Someone needs to explain these to me. Oh, pitch. Yeah, the yaw is going to freaking tilt. That's what it's doing. Pitch is tilting it. All right, so let's go back to our perfectly zero. All right, cool. So now as it goes low, you can then now adjust the roll so it looks up. And now what looked like just very easy animation now shows it lowering and kind of looking up. So that's just like a quick animation tip. I would start with big movements using the transform, and then you can kind of adjust from there. For example, say you're going over a hill, you can just go point A, point B with transform, and then you can adjust the Z so it goes above the hill and kind of goes down versus just running straight through it. Good, easy way of just slowly adding animation by getting your keyframe set and then adjusting the more minute details of your keyframe as you go. So sweet. I hope you guys like this tutorial. Had a fun time making it. So yeah, please like, subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Goodbye.